Hey everybody, I'm Michael Monaco.
And I'm Bobby Salveson, and we are the Hazmat Guys, bringing you the knowledge and insight to make your job a little bit easier and safer. But before today's show, let's listen to our sponsors. From traditional headsets to in-ear communications, Cavcon offers rugged and reliable choices for any communication challenge and any harsh environment. Cavcon's award-winning Talk Through Your Ears technology is specifically designed for clear and consistent in-suit communications. Whether you're working from a quiet control room or responding to an incident in a full level A, Cavcom has the comm system that's right for you. Any suit, any respirator, any radio, any environment. Check them out at cavcominc.com, that's CAVCOMINC.com, or give them a call at 866-547-4988. Hey everybody, we have a great episode coming up today, but before we start the show, we want to share some exciting news from the Hazmat Guys. As some of you may know, we have been working on a hazmat drill book for quite some time, and we're pleased to announce that it is finally available on Amazon. This book was written by contributors from the hazmat community based all around the United States, and we think it will provide a ton of value for both you and your department. The title of the book is The National Emergency Response Hazmat Drills, 50 Drills to Improve Your Team, better known as NERD. No, this was not a mistake. Anyway, the goal of the book has been to help the hazmat community, and we hope that you'll take a moment to check it out and share it. We have the link in the show notes, and if you have a moment, please leave us a positive review in Amazon. We'd be very grateful. We wanted to get NERD on the bestseller list and give more exposure to our community. Again, the book is called National Emergency Response Hazmat Drills, 50 Drills to Improve Your Team, and there's both a paperback and Kindle version available. Thank you, everybody.
Now let's get into the show.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Hazmat Guys. This is episode 166, and today we are going to be going over a near-miss run.
Yeah. Actually, this article was sent to me by one of my good friends, Jimmy Kane. He sent us. I guess he gets the articles sent to him, and he saw that this was a hazmat one, and he says, "Oh, you're one of those nerds, so let me send this over to you." And actually, I sent it out. I really didn't get anything like Mike did, and as soon as I sent it out, Mike sent me immediately back, "This is an episode." I'm like, all right. So when he explained the idea, I was kind of intrigued, and that's why we're going to go with it. But before we get to that, I just want to mention a couple of the conferences that we will be at in the upcoming future, very near future, actually. In January, which it is January right now, actually almost 2 weeks from now when we're recording this, we will be in Florida doing a one-show only You Suck at Teaching Hazmat, much to the crowd's favorite.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, my God. And then we're going to be in Wisconsin State Hazmat Conference doing quite a few. I think we're keynoting it. A couple of things. It should be a really good, new crowd. Looking forward to finding these guys. But coming up really soon there is quite a few. There's the Midwest that we just got. That's the Rick Emery show. That one we're definitely going to be there too. And in fact, I think we're keynoting that one. I don't want to say it definitely. New York State's coming up, one of my favorites. And what the hell else is coming up? Cold Zone. That just came out. Cold Zone with Chuck and Mike. Looking forward to that. That's if you want to do that one is free. The guys from North Dakota, they laugh at 5 degrees.
That's balmy for them.
Yeah, they're like, this is great. I'm like, no, it's not.
These swim in ice freaks.
So, without any further ado, why don't you give us the, I don't know, tell us about it. Tell us all about this.
So Bob sent this article, and I'm reading it, and I'm going, wow, I don't know if it would be interesting to talk about, or just kind of bullshit back and forth a little about some of the stuff that happened in here, and then kind of compare that to what should have happened, right? Because the whole reason for these near miss and sharing these informations is that we learn from other people's mistakes and thought processes, and hopefully one day, if you're ever in the same situation, you won't do what these people did. Now, I don't know when this run happened. I don't know how old it is. I clicked on it.
It does say it in here. It says from 2006 all the way at the end of this.
That's what I thought. I came across that number. I saw 2005 and 2006 somewhere, and I was like, this might be a really old run. So if you know this one and you're like, wow, you guys are really out of the loop, it's a good thing that happened that's kind of good to talk about. So we're going to kind of run through the incident real quick, and then we're going to go back and we're going to kind of dissect the different parts of it and just kind of get an idea of the different options that could have been available to everybody at different training levels, from awareness, operations to technician.
Do you want me to read out the summary, the quick one?
Yeah, go for the summary, and then I'll do the events.
All right. So, the summary, right? Yeah, actually, it's kind of a BS summary, but it says a chlorine leak is a high-risk, low-frequency event that can give grave results. Fortunately, Utah Valley University and Department of Homeland Security just released the final Jackrabbit report of catastrophic chlorine releases and the impacts on first responders. The following is an example of a chlorine near miss. Now, I think they released this a while ago, so this is kind of dated.
Yeah, the final one, I guess that was Jackrabbit. Maybe they're talking about Jackrabbit too. I'm not sure, but
maybe Jackrabbit 30.
30. Ooh,
I don't know.
Because 29 wasn't enough.
Yeah.
So
right.
This probably is an event that allowed them to, is a good one to talk about, and then they were able to throw the whole Jackrabbit project in as a hey, this is something
as a backbone,
right? As a backbone, it's kind of one of those marketing things. So, but all right, so this is the event that actually happened, all right, and we're reading this verbatim as best as my dyslexic ass can read something. A local company called the fire department to report a chlorine leak. The fire chief sent 2 awareness-trained firefighters to investigate. They responded alone, found a leaking chlorine tank. One firefighter reported the chlorine leak to the chief, who was not on scene, via cell phone.
All right, wait. Do we want to pull this apart?
Let's go through the whole thing first, and then we'll go back.
Okay, I'll make my notes.
Make your notes. Yeah, I know. I've got like 7 things just to say in those 3 sentences. That's okay. All right. A company representative then joined the firefighters on scene and found a leaking 1/4-inch line, which could be shut down by turning the valve off on the tank. The chief directed the 2 firefighters to go on air and shut off the leaking valve. The firefighters entered the area and completed the task, and then returned to the station. Days later, the firefighters were training in the station with other firefighters when other firefighters noticed a strong odor of chlorine on their gear. The gear was removed and bagged. The SCBAs that were used had visible corrosive signs on the metal snaps and buckles. The firefighters admitted to a rash on their skin and a sore throat after the event, but the symptoms by this time had self-corrected. The local emergency planning committee, the LEPC, became involved and reported the spill to the EPA, which is the Environmental Protection Agency. There was a failure to notify local government agencies on the part of both the company and the chief. The fire department and the companies are now both under investigation by OSHA and EPA, and the career/paid city fire chief tendered his resignation.
Yeah.
As he should have.
Interesting.
So we're going to go through, I guess, our takeaways on this, and then we'll talk about the takeaways that are in the article.
Yeah, so and another thing, because I'm very, and I know Mike is as well, I'm very leery about doing that armchair quarterback hindsight 2020 thing. I'm not looking down my nose at the chief or the firefighters that did this. It is a long time ago. I don't know if they're dead or alive or whatever it might be. But what I will say is that, I have a very big problem with guys that look down and they say, well, why didn't you do this? It's and I think I've said this a couple times in the thing. The difference between me and Mike sitting here and you listening to in a car or wherever you are is that the difference between what we're doing and what they're doing is the unknown.
Right.
They had unknown, and we know the punchline.
Yeah, a very good example of that. Very good example, and we were literally talking about this on the rig today as we were driving around. That movie with Sully. I think the name of the movie actually is Sully. The one with the plane in the Hudson River, right?
Yes.
And they're trying to crucify the guy, and all the pilots are in the simulator, and they're all able to do what he, quote unquote, should have done in the right amount of time. Right. And then someone turns around and goes, well, wait a second. It took us like 30 to 40 seconds to figure out what the hell was going on. You guys are doing this knowing what was going on.
Right.
So it's...
And then he asked, how many times did you do this over? And they're like, oh, it was like 60 times.
Yeah. So always remember when people are talking about an incident that exact thing, like there is a certain level of what the hell is going on in every step of every run. So, give people a little bit of leeway.
Right. And the best thing we can do, you as the loyal listener and me and Mike, is to artificially take ourselves out of the know. Right? We're going to pretend we didn't read that whole story and inject ourselves into this whole thing, but also having the knowledge that we've gained through 165 episodes of this freaking monstrosity, to really listen. We've gone through laws, we've gone through levels of competence, we've gone through chlorine, we've gone through chemical physical property, we've gone through a lot of stuff. So by this time, we're able to kind of discern, and you should have a notepad out saying, "Whoa, that's kind of little. I don't know if that's correct." I don't care if you're a chief or you're a probie. There should be a few flags that are in there that you probably wouldn't have done.
Right. Here and there. Hopefully.
So, what do you want? How do you want to do this?
All right. Well, let's start off with. There's a couple things that are kind of pretty glaring on that first paragraph that I'd like to address.
Right.
The first is one of the very last sentences, which is that the chief was not on scene.
Yeah.
Do you have any kind of problem with that statement?
Yeah,
Why?
that's against NIMS, and not even NIMS. That's against common sense. Okay, so
Why?
Explain
Explain to me what the thought process is. Why you would turn around and go, wait a second, you're running a hazmat. I don't care if it's a hazmat scene, a fire scene, an EMS scene, any kind of incident.
It doesn't matter.
You weren't there.
So all right. So when I'm teaching probies in the fire service, I also do that kind of thing. I always jokingly say to everybody, who's ever rode in the front seat, with the pedals and the sirens and you'll get a couple probies. These are all under 1 year guys or girls that are standing there, and a couple of them raise their hands, and you go, were you the first unit on scene? And a few of them will drop their hands, and a few will keep up. And you say, you were the chief of department until the next guy got there. Now, again, we can split it, go, well, the driver probably is the senior guy, and we all know how that goes. But in all technicality, that guy is in the officer's seat, and the guy is in the command structure seat, whatever the hell you want to call it, and he goes on scene. He is the guy. I don't care if the 17-star chief is on his way with his intergalactic command vehicle coming through with his SUV, whatever the hell it is. He is the guy until that guy is on scene. That's written in every command book in existence.
100%.
Right? Now, I'm not saying you can't call command as a courtesy and say, this is what we have, what do you recommend? But it is a courtesy and a recommendation. The guy that's on scene is the incident commander. That's crazy.
To me, it's just absurd that somebody would take command of a scene or give an order that isn't even there.
I don't want to read too much into it, because maybe that one firefighter was literally being courteous. He was saying, you know what, the chief is the chief, and I'm the fireman, and that's cool. I'm okay with that.
Right.
But if the chief is saying something, you're going, Chief, you're really not seeing what I'm saying. I can't. There is not a single person in the world be like, yeah, the chief was right, you were wrong. They're all going to be like, well, you gave the courtesy and you were right.
I like how you're giving them the benefit of the doubt, but then in that next paragraph, it does say the chief directed the two firefighters to go on air. So,
right, it never says in here when he got on scene.
That's true.
Did the chief direct it from the phone, or did he direct it from the scene?
That's true.
So I'll give him that. Let's say he was on scene, whatever it might be. But what really in the first paragraph that you said that kind of caught me was, and maybe it's just an issue of the wording of the article, is awareness trained firefighters. Now, you can equivocate this to the news, and this is like a pet peeve of mine, where the firefighters went into the building with their oxygen masks on,
Yes.
or nerve gas. We go through all these in a litany. Awareness trained is very specific.
It is very specific, and considering where this is coming from, the source
from a firefighter-based news article.
Yeah, I have a feeling that they probably were awareness trained level firefighters, because they are out there, right? I don't think you have to be operations until you're firefighter 2.
You do. I am, and by all means, anybody that's in the field that can correct me on this, but I'm almost sure that awareness training is for industry. And once you get on a rig that has lights and sirens, you have to be operations nationally. I don't know. And again, I don't even know what town this is in. This could be in, an LEPC. If there's an LEPC and EPA is involved, it has to be in the United States. So if it's in the United States, then I would hang my hat on this one, that awareness is not on the fire truck and operations is on the fire truck.
Well, if this was in 2005, right? If this was, because I know what you're saying, and there's a possibility that was. That was, if you were firefighter 1, you could be awareness, and if you're firefighter 2, you're operations.
That's a good point.
So
that's a good point.
It is entirely possible. But what is that big difference then between awareness and operations? Like what are we looking at? So, right, we say awareness, and most of the people out there are either operations level or technicians. I would venture to say there's probably more technicians listening to this than operations levels guys. So what is it that makes an awareness person awareness?
It's really simple. All right, so keeping this very deep into the 5th grade vein. That sounds a little weird, but anyway.
That's
a little.
Yeah, we should strike.
I should probably edit that out. All right, anyway, awareness is guys that are on not on the fire truck, that see something going wrong. They're going to pick up the phone and say 911 or whatever your locale is. I have a problem. Hang up. Everybody stay back. That is it. That is, it's pedestrian level. It's basically just awareness that there is an issue and that I need more resources.
Right. And literally by the NFPA standards, right, you're talking about detecting the presence of hazardous materials. So you got to be able to see, recognize a placard,
It's recognition.
Right.
It's sight,
basic recognition,
hearing, and just observation. That's basically what they're.
And the competencies involved with this is to initiate a protective action, right?
Which is, hey, everybody get back.
Right. And then initiate a notification process.
Which is, hey, 911, I got a problem.
Right. Like that is literally like if you were to go to the standard, which I'm looking at NFPA 472 right now. Mm-hmm. That is the competency level of an awareness level firefighter.
Right. So now this is the problem with why isn't it operations level? Because if it was operation level, they're the awareness people call.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? So like if they're operations, which if they're firefighters, I'm gonna have to assume they were operations because they were on a rig. Why are they awareness? So that might be stroke 1, but again, I don't know what it was in 2004, where the hell it was. This could be 1975. I have no idea. So I really don't.
So if they were then operations level, let's assume for a second that this is totally wrong. Let's bump up to the next level. Okay. Operations level firefighter. What would you expect out of an operations level firefighter at that point?
Pretty simple as well. So I get there on the scene. I'm going to support that whole removal of people. And my job, in a nutshell, is defensive modes with one exception. It's the remote shutoff. Everybody goes, well, that's obviously a defensive mode. I think it's kind of semi-offensive / defensive. It's more defensive, but nonetheless, I don't want to split the hairs here.
Well, it's the whole word remote.
Remote. That's right. The key.
And then, in your opinion, what makes something remote?
Outside of the ideal age.
Outside of the ideal age. So that just because this valve is 1.5 miles away, if you have to get yourself involved in product, then it is
Yeah.
not remote. It's remote from the chemical, not remote from the leak, not remote from where the victim is. It is remote. It is removed from the hot zone. So
Right.
if you have to get yourself involved in the product, it's no longer remote. It is
Right.
now that becomes an offensive operation because you are now playing in the product. What is the only time that you are allowed to play in the product as an operations level person?
I think when life,
Life.
right? When
That's
you got to
it.
make a grab.
You got to make a grab, right? And then that's when the whole risk benefit analysis comes in. Hey, listen, is this person dead? Are they alive? Are they
Right.
Are they right? All that goes into play. But yeah, that's it. Other than that,
Well, I do want to say that there are, and currently, and this is relatively new, is that there's mission-specific competencies that are above and beyond. I don't want to turn this into an NFPA show because we've done this before, but if you want to look back into the previous episodes, there are add-ons such as monitoring, metering, rescue-based, and I'm going off the top of my head. I don't remember what all of them are. Decon specialist. There's like 4 or 5 different things that if your AHJ, your authority having jurisdictions, says yes you are, they train you and they give you the equipment, then you can be certified to a level that's just above it.
Right.
And it's not quite technician, but you're like right there.
So the most an operation in this scenario where guys are showing up, this scenario, the most an operations level guy could probably do, even with all that mission specific stuff, would be having a meter on with a PID.
Yes. I would say that's the max he can do. Even the CPC, he's not trained for offensive work.
Right. That would be more for
way.
like a large scale life rescue.
Right. There is no offensive work in the operations, even the mission-specific stuff. It's all defensive. Snatch and grab is probably the closest to getting close to the hot zone as they get.
Right. So if these guys were awareness level and let's say for a minute they had the meter, really all they would have been doing is setting up the isolation areas, walking around, going, oh, I'm getting a hit on my PID. Let's mark it here, and we'll mark this as the hot zone. You can kind of start to get an idea of where the plume is going, right? Like, is it going in one direction? Is it going in another? Is it going up? Is it going down? So that stuff is extremely important when you start coming to evacuations and, the isolation areas, the cold zones, the evacuation zones, all that starts to come into play. And it is extremely important, but that is what is pretty much expected of our operations level guys.
Right. The operation level guys are supposed to be playing in the yellow and the green zones. The only exception to that is the mission-specific, I believe, rescue guys are able to dip into the red in order to effect the rescue and then come right back out.
Right.
But they're not authorized to go in there and play, which is exactly what these 2 guys did.
Yes. So
they went into the red to the source, to the black.
And then obviously what we all are, well, what most of us are, the technicians, we're going to go in there and we'll be the ones to actually shut down that tank if that valve is involved somehow in product one way or the other.
You've heard us talk about First Line Technologies' Dahlgren Decon solution and their FiberTech wipes and mitts. They've just come out with Enhanced Decon Systems Kit, which contains everything you need to quickly decontaminate 6 to 24 operators and all their gear in one fully equipped grab-it-and-go bag. This kit has been Hazmat team tested and approved, and it's the only full-team modified decon kit with the power of Dahlgren Decon and FiberTech wipes to counter hundreds of known and emerging threats. The EDS kit is perfect for incidents where a small footprint, low logistics decontamination SOP is appropriate. Are you operating in a harsh environment? No problem. Whether it's -10 or 104 degrees F, Dahlgren Decon will maintain its effectiveness and can be easily applied to neutralize threats. The kit is stable in temperatures from -40 to 160 degrees F if you carry the RSDL with you. If you use all the consumables in the kit, unlike other rapid deployment kits, you do not need to buy a complete kit to resupply. Just purchase one of the first line EDS replenishment packs and order just the elements you need. When ounces count and the clock is ticking, grab the EDS kit and go. Call the guys at First Line Technology for more information or a quote at 703-955-7510 or email them at sales@firstlinetech.com.
So a company representative then joined the firefighters on scene. They found the accordingly elite. They shut it down. The firefighters entered the area and completed the task, right? So right there, I mean, if they are awareness, you're literally jumping 2 levels of training above what you should have been done. And then they returned to the station. Right. Days later, the firefighters were training. They noticed a strong odor of chlorine. So what does that tell you right there about a major process that needed to be done on scene that wasn't?
Well, getting these guys' noses checked.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, if they're not smelling chlorine and they're waiting 2 days to smell chlorine, I mean, like, holy cow. How bad are their sniffers? You know what? I got to say this right off the bat because I don't want this whole story to come off as, oh, those poor firefighters. That evil, dastardly chief. Just send them in.
No, they should have known.
The firefighters should have known, even in awareness. If they were aware, they are aware they shouldn't be in there. And so I will say that those firefighters are equally as guilty as the fire chief. The fact that the chief is a chief says a lot. Okay, maybe he should have hung his head. And
that goes to show that one of the hardest things, we've done a lot of stuff on our job. We've done a lot of things, and sometimes the hardest thing to do is to do nothing.
Yeah,
and I've said that before, and I will say that again. For firefighters, the hardest thing to do is to do nothing.
Right. Listen, we have companies, we have guys that you, as an officer, you have to go, guys, come on, let's get in there. And where me and Mike have worked most of our career, we have officers that have to go, guys, stop. You're pulling back the reins.
Take a step back, gentlemen.
Stop. You know, when you're in, where me and Mike have worked in special operations for, I've been in special operations for almost 18 years. Everything is all stop, please, guys, stop. You're gonna get me in trouble.
Right.
And in the regular companies, it's come on. It's like moving cats. You know, and that's a difficult thing. But I mean, getting back to the whole odor of chlorine. Right? Days later, not hours, minutes, days.
Right. So there was no decon.
No.
There was
obviously
no
not.
Decon done on scene. Now, even if it was a water decon, which it absolutely should not have been, right?
Well, why? All right. So if we have, one can only assume that a tank of chlorine was a gaseous chlorine.
Right.
So if I was to put water on this, besides it turning white, right? Because a little bleaching action there.
A little bit.
Why would I not want to put water on chlorine?
Well, because you're going to produce hydrochloric acid. And that hydrochloric acid is going to now be in your gear. You're going to think, right, that you have cleaned your gear. Oh, I sprayed myself down with water, right? That's kind of what everyone's pretending to think when they're spraying themselves down on a fire scene now. Oh, I'm getting all the contaminants off me. Good for me.
It's like Flash Dancer.
Right. And you're not. You're just adding acid to your matrix inside of your suit, and that'll eventually leach its way down to the skin. It'll destroy your suit. So the water definitely is not a way to go. In this instance, it would literally be stripping the bunker gear off of you, then rinsing yourself down in water, almost pretty much naked, and then bagging your gear and sending it out.
All right, so let me ask you one of the newer techniques that's out there, and one specifically our department does, is stand in front of a fan.
Yes. Okay, so I like the stand in front of the fan, but I like it more for plastic CPC than I do bunker gear.
Why?
Because in bunker gear, you have material that breathes. Bunker gear helps insulate you by literally just producing space between you and basically making thermal barriers. And the chemicals they can, in the vapor form, can easily get into the gear and kind of stay in there. And when you put yourself in front of a fan, when you're in a plastic suit, that air is directly hitting whatever the material is that's on the plastic suit and allowing it to push away and evaporate. When it's inside clothing, that fan becomes a lot less effective, for lack of a better words. I mean, it can still produce some kind of results, but I'm telling you, even on ammonia runs that I've been on, people don't think, and they're like, oh, we'll just set up the fan, and then all of a sudden firefighters are going through that and their gear still reeks of ammonia. So
right,
it doesn't.
There's no digital thing where you're not like, oh, I'm done, bing, like a little bell goes off and you go, I'm good.
Right. We basically will stand in front of a fan long enough, if I'm in like a level A, basically to get enough of the material off of me that as I'm getting undressed, the vapors are not burning my skin as I'm getting undressed. Like, it's not meant to like, hey, look, I stood in front of a fan in my bunker gear and now I'm clean.
Right. Trust me, chlorine, ammonia, these things are so potent. The people deconning you will be operating in eye-tearing effect
if they don't have their masks on, without a doubt.
Oh my! But like a couple, one other thing, they said that the SCBA's used had visible corrosive signs on metal snaps.
That's an issue.
Wow.
So that's all right. So for me, that's an issue for two reasons. Why don't you?
Right.
I'm talking a lot.
I'm just going to say one thing. It says it has corrosive signs on metal snaps. Now, if that happened at scene, I'd be like, holy crap. But again, the corrosive signs on metal straps happen days later. As I read this article, if hydrochloric acid has days to act on anything metal, I would expect it to have corrosion. To what extent?
Well,
that's to the eye of the beholder.
That is true. But I'm going to kind of take the idea that maybe people were not in the station that much because they said they were there for training in the station. So perhaps it was a couple days before other people were back in the station. I don't know if that's a possibility. I don't want to throw out the word volley, but is it a possibility that the SAT?
No, they were a paid on call department. They were a combination paid and on call.
Right.
I saw that in the article.
In some of those departments, the paid guys are in houses and the volley guys are in houses.
Right, but these guys were not junior bops. I mean, these guys, and Bop is a new guy. These guys had 21 and 23 years of experience. Oh. Those guys aren't junior dudes.
No. I didn't see that. I did not see that time frame on there.
They were 43 and 51 years old. So they're not idiots. I hope.
Well,
I don't know.
I know a couple idiot 50-year-olds, but that's totally besides the point. And I won't mention anything more about that. But there's another issue for me that kind of jumps out at me with the corrosive signs on the metal straps and the strong odor of chlorine in their gear. What classification in the DOT is chlorine?
Oh, it has a couple. It has poison, and it has oxidizer. And it has corrosive, doesn't it? Well, I'm just talking about pure labels that could be on a package. I mean, oxidizer I think is number one, though.
It's the oxidizer that I'm looking for. So you're taking a very strong oxidizer that is now in fire gear and now on straps on your SCBA. The potential for those guys literally igniting when they go into a fire, because now they have oxidizer chemicals in their material. Like, this is why
it's embedded now.
It's embedded in there. It's in the matrix. If there's one thing we've been learning about these all new decon processes and why we're switching over to doing what we're doing is because so much of these chemicals get embedded into the matrix of the material that you now have a very strong oxidizer. You have fire, you have oxygen, you have heat, you have all those things. And if an oxidizer loves to do something, it's to make a situation worse. And man, you have the potential of turning into a Roman candle.
Yeah. No, that is a no-go. And the next line is the firefighters admitted to rashes on the skin and sore throats. They should have been like, yeah, we made a mistake.
Yeah.
We shouldn't agree to that. I mean, rash on the skin and sore throats, that's definitely a hit the brakes kind of thing. But the rashes, can you call them chemical burns? Maybe.
They probably were
Maybe.
to some degree.
Yeah. Because I mean, they're sweating and they have a possible corrosive atmosphere that they're going into.
And shame on you for not going to the hospital with a freaking rash and a sore throat.
Yeah.
Like,
when it gets into the LEPC, if the LEPC found out about this and how it happened, I have no idea. But the LEPC is a committee of people that are community-based. It's maybe the marshal's office, whatever it might be. It might be, in different counties, it's different ways. They reported to the EPA. They reported it to the EPA. Like, nobody else is listening. They said, you know what? No, we can't let this happen. And they called the EPA. And they got hit for failure to notify local government agencies, company. The chief was under. They're in. You know what? I feel bad, but there was such a fundamental lack of breakdown of just. I hate to say it any other way, but common sense.
Yeah.
Just basic know your jobism.
Yeah.
I really don't want, but like, dude. As a chief, as a firefighter, if you're awareness, it is in your title that you're aware of your problems.
And that's it. And that's
you know?
it. And it's funny because I even think the word operations to describe operations level guys is a little bit the word itself to me gives too much
credibility.
Credibility, response. Like, I'm supposed to be operating. But it doesn't tell them what to operate. So it's like, well, I'm supposed to operate. I can do these things. I'm operating. Like, it should be like, I don't know, stand back and watch level of training. I don't.
Oh no, I think the worst is the incident commander. I think the incident commander.
Of course, the word chaos is chiefs have arrived on scene.
I think the incident commander title is the absolute worst in the hazardous materials realm because, and I'm not saying all chiefs are like this, but I'm going to say the vast majority of chiefs are like this because they sit through hazmat because they have to sit through hazmat. And then they're like, F that, man, I'm out. And they have their operations level guidelines. And what inevitably happens is the fire chief will insist he will take a Gallagher comedy show size mallet to any issue and jam it through the fire square in the table.
Yes.
He will make the hazmat scene fit the fire SOPs no matter what is happening. And he will say, well, fire techniques work for all my runs. It will work for this one too. And hazmat is totally different than in fire. You cannot apply successfully, consistently, fire tactics to hazardous material scenes without getting people hurt. It will not happen. You may get away with it for 2 years, 4 years, 5 years, but you will have this bell-ringing, chief tendered his resignation operation on your career. If you don't, you hit the lottery, kid.
Yeah, you really did. You really did. So what were some of the takeaways from this article? Well, the article itself gives its own takeaways. I want to just read through them real quick and see. I didn't read these takeaways yet. Bob, I don't know if you read them when you initially got the article. Because I read the article and I was like, this is going to make a show. Let's talk about this. So I'm going to run through these takeaways and see if they hit anything that we didn't and see if we hit anything that they didn't. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. So the two firefighters, this is the takeaways from the article. The 2 firefighters who responded and mitigated this incident were trained to a hazmat awareness level. Trained at this level, firefighters are responsible for recognition of a hazardous material, protecting themselves, communicating to the proper authority, and establishing scene control.
Yep.
I think we said all that. It is never appropriate for an officer to assume command of an incident when he or she is not on scene. That's the first thing we talked about. Furthermore, offensively mitigating a chlorine release exceeding the training a level of awareness. We talked about that. In some instances, an operation level firefighter may be directed to turn off a remote valve. However, it is done outside the hot zone and with a backup team in place. Sounds familiar.
We didn't even talk about the backup team, but yes.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't talk about a backup team. You're 100% right. All right. Hazmat instances almost always require unified command decision makers. All right. And those decision makers include the spiller, the responsible party, the fire department, hazmat responders. Look at that. They're kind of part of that matrix. Hazmat responders. I think somebody just talked about that. The cleanup contractors, which we generally don't talk about. Law enforcement, which, whatever. Sorry for those guys out in California. I do love you. We're just New York, and, screw you. State agencies and federal agencies. The 2 firefighters, they were untrained. They were wearing the wrong PPE. Oh, we didn't even talk about PPE.
Yeah.
They were lucky. They were fortunate that they only suffered skin irritations, cough, and some equipment damage. So, we pretty much, I didn't even think PPE because an awareness level person would never go into a level A. So
they don't have PPE. They're not supposed to have PPE. That's why they're not on a fire truck.
Right.
But nonetheless, listen, guys, this is one of those incidents that could really be a great organic conversation over the kitchen table, in your firehouse, in your EMS station, in your police precinct, whatever it might be. There are takeaways on this thing. The link is going to be in the show notes, and we're going to put the actual written out article. And if you click on the link that's actually in the show notes, you're going to get the full article with the ages of the guys and stuff like that. But it's really not necessary. Tell us what you think. Honestly, were we too harsh? Were we too easy? What are your thoughts? And hit us up on the Hazmat Guys Facebook. I don't know what the hell the name is. It's a Facebook.
The Facebook. Put it on your wall or a wall or any wall. I don't know. But
a wall?
No. I certainly hope not. And if you ever have a desire for us to come do some training with you, hit us up. The hazmatguys.com has a whole list of stuff that we come and do. You got to get in pretty early. We get pretty booked up pretty quick. So get in there and get us out to your department.
If you have a moment, please head over to iTunes and leave us a positive review. And don't forget to check out the book, National Emergency Response Hazmat Drills, or NERD, on Amazon.
Well, that wraps up another episode of the Hazmat Guys.
You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and our YouTube channel at the Hazmat Guys. And take a moment to call our comment hotline at 843-628-1484 and go to www.thehazmatguys.com and sign up for the newsletter.
We seriously look forward to your feedback about any of the information provided, and we also want to hear about interesting incidents that you were a part of. So you can send us a note at feedback@thehazmatguys.com. And remember, any of the information that you share with us, if we put it on air, can always remain anonymous.
Remember, guys, don't just get on the job. Get into the job.